Hey there guys, welcome back to another buyer's guide. This time we'll be looking at not a Leopard 2A4, but rather the Leopard 2AV. This is a battle rating 10.0 main battle tank in the German tech tree originating from the 2022 Summer Quest event. It's available for around $50 on the marketplace at the time of this recording, and to be clear, it is not a premium, so if you buy this, you will need to stock grind it. The 2AV is one of several Leopard 2 pre-production variants currently in the game, but unlike the others, this one actually has a fully fleshed out composite armor scheme, giving it an acceptable level of protection for its BR. It also gets a laser rangefinder, but notably it lacks thermals. Also, unlike the other Leopard 2 variants, the 2AV lacks a 120mm gun, replacing it with a 105mm L7 instead. While this is still a perfectly serviceable weapon, you are going to miss out on that extra punch of the 120 somewhat. It does have an extra roof-mounted machine gun also, which is honestly more useful than you might expect. Getting into greater detail though, let's start off with protection. Let me first say I'm trying a bit of a new format for displaying armor values, so let me know if you guys find this to be more intuitive. The Leopard 2AV features quite a complex and varied armor scheme due to the fact that it has a bunch of different composite bits as well as internal spaced armor, so I'm going to just show the approximate average protection levels for different areas. Starting off with kinetic protection, its armor is pretty decent for the BR, being quite well protected against any sort of APDS or APFSDS with less than 400mm of pen. The breach area is quite vulnerable, though it can be a bit trolly at times, and also the turret ring is quite weak and is vulnerable even to autocannon fire from the front. If you're firing at this thing from the front with something that doesn't have a super strong dart round, firing right underneath the gun is usually going to be your best bet in terms of weak spots if you don't have time to line up a more precise shot. If you're lucky, a hit here can disable both the engine and the breech at the same time. Another weak spot to keep in mind is this exterior fuel tank that's sandwiched between the two hull-mounted composite armor bits, as it allows a certain window on that upper front hull where if an enemy dart round is arcing down at a slight angle, it can essentially bypass half of your frontal armor. Interestingly, while the turret is slightly weaker than the 2A4, the strongest part of the hull is actually stronger than the 2A4 by quite a bit, offering up to 360mm of kinetic protection compared to only 300 on the 2A4. Looking at protection against shape charges, this thing is frontally pretty much immune to any sort of gun-launched heat FS, so you really only need to worry about aircraft-launched missiles or comically large ATGMs in that respect. Its side protection is quite poor, with most of the side armor being only 30mm thick, and the bottom and rear sections being only 20mm, leaving the engine vulnerable even to 50 cals from some angles at close range. You do get 7mm side skirts for what it's worth. This is also true of its protection against shape charge warheads, with certain areas being able to withstand maybe some lighter air-launched rockets if they hit at an angle, but that's going to be about it. In terms of firepower, this is a 105mm L7 firing DM33 with a maximum flat pen of 408mm and an aced reload speed of 6 seconds. This is a serviceable level of firepower, but honestly, especially in up tiers, that lack of punch compared to the 120 is going to feel a bit painful. As you would expect for a Leopard, its mobility is quite good, with a maximum stat card speed of 42 miles per hour and a horsepower to ton ratio of 26. As for lineups, this thing gets a pretty strong one at 10.0, with both the Radkampfwagen and the Leo 2K also being available at this battle rating. Also, the ATGM Weasel at 9.7 works perfectly well here too, as well as the Ocelot and Gepard A2 for SPAA. You have quite a few CAS options, but they all have some drawbacks. You could take the MiG-23BN or the F4F early, but neither have any countermeasures, and the latter is an event vehicle, which you probably won't have. You could take out the Alpha Jet, but that's definitely pushing it a bit for its BR. The Hunter is pretty good, and it gets Mavericks, but that's a squadron vehicle, and you may not have it. And of course there's the F-104, which just, no. I've actually had quite a lot of success with the Hind, since it gets some pretty fast Sturm missiles, which, unlike Western helicopter-launched ATGMs, don't require the enemy to sit out in the open for half an hour before the missile finally reaches them. So overall, how would I rate this vehicle? Well, firstly, I think $50 is a bit much for a vehicle that isn't even a premium. However, you can get Gaijin coin for free just by selling event vehicles, so let's assume price isn't a problem. This is not a super dominant vehicle, and up tiers are going to be especially painful where you're fighting stuff like T-80s, which just utterly outclass you. That being said, you do have strong mobility to help compensate, and also have the option of just taking out the Radkampfwagen in an up tier and playing support anyways, since it's not like your armor is really going to matter there anyways. If you do find yourself in a rare full down tier, this thing is going to be quite dangerous though, given that it possesses armor, speed, and firepower that are all extremely potent by 9.0 and 9.3 standards. Overall, I would give this thing a solid 8 out of 10 rating. While it may not be incredibly strong at its BR, it's a pretty forgiving and versatile tank, which you can do pretty much anything with, and which also comes with a very strong lineup to back it up. If you're a fan of the Leopard 2A4, this is basically going to give you the same experience, just at a lower BR. That's going to be all for this one, guys. If you found this content helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe, and for more vehicle reviews, check out the playlist linked in the description or the video linked in the end screen, and I'll see you guys in the next one.